Okay, cool. Right. So I'll go for all the housekeeping and everything with us. We'll get started, and then anyone else who can make it will join. Hopefully find out more. Hopefully you're working towards your regional finals, or if you're in another part of the world, hopefully you're sort of getting towards where you need to be for competing. Just a quick reminder that I'm Tom. I'm the UK and Ireland National Project Manager. So anything to do with the UK and Ireland is falls with me. So if you do have any questions, if you are in the UK and Ireland, then please do get in contact. So as I mentioned, everything's been recorded. I've muted everybody's microphones just so that we don't have sort of people chatting through and on, especially because we've got the recording going. And obviously, in terms of asking questions and things like that, if you could please put them into the chat, and then I'm going to tackle any questions at the end of the session. But just be aware that if you are in another country, then I might not have the right answer for you, because there is certain nuances across the globe in terms of local and regional events. So please can you ask the questions in your in the chat box function that's available for everybody, and I'll answer those questions at the end. Right, I've covered everything. Sorry, I was just double checking through there. Reminder about judges, procedures, and questions. I can't take any questions or answer anything on how many points you might think something's worth. I can only point you in the right direction in terms of what I think you should be doing, how you can use the scorecards, but I can't answer anything on a historic scorecard that you may have, or on any questions about how many points you might get for some content that you've already created. This is an informative session rather than a session on how much things and points are worth. So I'm going to show you a real quick video from our World Finals. It's from the pit display build. It's a really short but cool video just to see about that. In terms of pit display builds at regional and national events in UK and Ireland, we don't have those. They're just set up beforehand. So do bear that in mind. But it's always nice just to set the scene before we get going into the Twilight. So here we go. Let's check out this video. Back in a second. With the rain and everything coming down, it's nice to reminisce the World Finals back in Singapore. It was absolutely boiling and very, very humid. But a great little video just to give you some idea of the chaos around the pit build, but also just to get some ideas for your potential pit builds and also your brand identity that we're going to be covering in this session. So we've got, I'll be finished by past, hopefully. I've run over every single one so far by 6 or 7 minutes, so I do apologise for that. But I am going to be sending out the recording. So if you do want the recording afterwards, you'll get it to the email link that you've registered for this Twilight session with. So what do I have to do? If you are an entry class team, a brand identity section and the pit display is completely optional. So everybody will have the opportunity to put out a pit display, but you don't have to do that from entry class. There is a Best Pit Display award for the entry class division. So if you're in that and you're taking part, then there is some stakes sort of as part of that, but it's only optional. Development and professional class is compulsory, and you must do your pit display from that point of view. Just remember to always include all your information, team name, number and school on your pit display, just to make it clear and relevant for the judges when they do walk around to come and visit you for your brand identity interview and to check out your pit display. What is actually judged on this section then? So they're going to assess the actual pit display that you've got set up and the content that's in it, And then obviously your overall identity throughout all of your projects, whether that's through your uniform, into your car, into your portfolios, on your pit display, the actual build that you've got there, on any items that you're potentially giving away as freebies, your social media content, your websites, absolutely everything basically from that point of view is is going to be judged. Okay. And this is just the entry class stuff. So just thinking about, I'm not going to read it all, but this is just to showcase when they get the resources when they come out. Basically, what can you kind of do, what should be part of it, and it's all about the best pit display. So things like showing your behind the scenes work that you've done that the judges don't see. It's nice to show that off. Whose pit display is it? So your team, make it all about you, make it linking with everything in your brand. We've got there that judges love cupcakes. In fact, everyone loves cupcakes. But giving away freebies is not a necessity, but it's maybe part of you sort of showing your brand and growing your brand amongst the community at your regional final and beyond that. And obviously, a bit of height is always nice. Everybody gets a table. I'll show some examples a bit later. But trying to actually build something up onto your table or just using display boards is a great way of getting a little bit of height, just so that you've got something to showcase all of your work on. And from the entry class point of view, remember, it's a bit of fun. Okay, so it's a great way for you to have some fun with it. Don't spend any money in terms of a bit of printing to showcase stuff and all that kind of stuff, but be innovative with your ideas. And on the actual scorecard, so from a development and professional class point of view, regional finals, everyone gets a classroom style table that's no bigger than 2 by 1 meters. The reason we can't give the exact dimension of regionals is every venue we go to provides us with different tables. So in Bristol and Bath Science Park, for example, the tables are actually quite big, versus in London West at RAF Benson, it's a trestle table provided by the RAF. So again, it's a slightly different style. All the way to Scotland, where we're going on Thursday and Friday this week, they just have the regular two-seater desk that you'd sit at in a maths lesson, for example. So a full range of different sizes. So please bear that in mind. If you want to know a little bit more about your venue, we can give you some rough idea. So drop us a message at any point to give you a rough idea of our previous experience of tables that we've got when we've gone to those different venues. So everybody gets one of those spaces. It's labeled up with your team name and number. It's completely blank, and it's up to you to put something on there. I'm not going into too much more detail for the UK national finals, but that's where you actually get a booth, a 2 by 1 meter booth. We send out the dimensions, and that's the kind of stuff that you saw on the the World Finals video that I just played, even though the World Finals it's 3 by 1 meters in terms of space. Only student team members can set up your pit display. So when you get there, adults can supervise and teachers can supervise, but they're not allowed to help and support. It's up to you to set up your pit display and for you to build it in your venue wherever you are. So please do bear that in mind. And you can't use power tools and things like that. So also bear that in mind as well, please, when you're building. In terms of the scorecard, it's worth 100 points. So your actual pit display is worth 60 points, but then your team identity and graphic identity is worth 40, and all that does filter into your pit display as well. That's why it's kind of together in the brand identity kind of format. We used to just do the pit display, but it was more than that the teams do and what you do. So it was better to provide more marks, and why we've got 2 sections there. So make sure you take into account both sections when you're thinking about your pit display, but also that brand identity and team identity flowing through absolutely every element that's on there. Okay, so please do use the scorecard. It's really, really important. And if you're an entry class team, perhaps you want to look at this scorecard and see, right, what can I talk about? What can't I talk about? Or what can I use for you from a starting point that then you'll be able to develop as you move through the journey in F1 in schools. So what do the judges say? So obviously judges always say stuff to us all the time about how we can improve. They also always give us like a roundup in our judges briefing of what kind of things would they think the students could do a little bit better on their pit displays. So using the scorecard is absolutely key. I've said it every single time for each of these. You'd be surprised how many people probably still won't use it. Always have the scorecard with you whenever you're doing any element of the competition. That's across all of the categories. Practice your pit build. Even if you're just using display boards, do them before you come, so you know what it's going to look like. You can move things around, so you can literally just pick up your pit display and you can stick it straight on top of your table. Or if you're building stuff, you put in a tablecloth on, or if you're going to be giving stuff out, or you've got some prototypes to showcase, whatever it is, have a go at building it before so you can see what it looks like. And you can put it into your portfolios as well. It's part of your process and journey in F1 in schools, but it might also make you think, right, actually, no, we need to add something else, or this doesn't stand out very well, or we need to do this, this, and this. Really do practice it. Make sure you can build everything without support of a teacher. That's key. Obviously, from a health and safety point of view, teachers can get involved there. But really, you should be able to just get there and do it all yourself. And that's what it's all about. It's about you as a student being able to take part and build your pit display. Engage the judges at your pit. That's really key. If you've got stuff to show them, stuff to physically put in their hands, that's always going to engage them a little bit better. It's going to spark their interest to ask more questions and get more information out of you. And that's really key for your judging and your scoring. Make sure you've got props. When I talk about props, I don't mean fun stuff. Having said that, fun stuff is still really cool to bring from an engaging point of view, and I'll show you a picture about that a bit later. But try and bring prototypes. If you've made 7 different cars, or if you 3D printed something and it didn't work, bring it with you and show the judges, oh, we did this and it didn't work, so that's why we got to this part of our project. So anything that you can bring to help you, that'll be absolutely worthwhile. Try to be different. Obviously, everybody's got the same table space, so you're trying to do something that's going to help and make you stand out. All the pit displays are getting quite generic now because they've been doing them for a while. Everyone's been seeing them. Teachers and students share pictures of what they're doing, and that's what everyone's doing. Try and think outside the box if you can. Can you come up with a different concept for your pit display? And be open to criticism and creative criticism from the judges and from your fellow competitors about what you've done on your pit display and how you can improve it. But also use the feedback that you're going to get to help and grow in the competition. So entry class teams, dev and pro teams, as you keep moving and re-competing, take that criticism on board and you can improve that next time. So that's what the judges are saying. In terms of some examples, I've got 2 examples, and then I'm going to go through a little bit more information in terms of Team Tamwin. So we had Bella last week, which was amazing, and she's while she was here on her work experience, she's also put together some advice from a student's point of view about what she did and what they did on their national finals pit display. But you can see one here from H-Rock, a school in London South region, and you can just see simply they've got their trestle table, they've put what am I trying to say? They've put a tablecloth over the top of it. They've got a computer to showcase what they're doing. All their portfolios are out. I can see some key rings there for them to give them out. They've got that really nice kind of, hopefully you can see that laser I've just put on there, but you can see there they've got that nice kind of like twisty table showcasing their car. They've also got 2 cars. You can see if I just showcase those, really nice laser cut logo at the back over there. But you can see their logo absolutely everywhere, all over every piece of information. They've got their sponsors around. Looks like there's a QR code there to scan. I don't know what's behind the QR code, but it gives you that. And I can just kind of see here a journey of different cars in their workshop. And you can also see some CFD work that they've put on the side over here, which they'll obviously probably talk about with their judges. So that's an example. I'm not saying go and do this, I'm just saying it's an example, but you can see how they've used the table really nicely to fill everything up on there. And then you can also see they've used some display boards that you can just hopefully get from school, from a parents' evening or something like that, to put behind your board. You can see how much height it's got as well, which is quite nice from that point of view. And you can really see H-Rock's kind of brand coming through, which is good. So the second one I've got here, slightly different, but again, a really good solution. There's a team called Flow, and you can see on theirs, they've actually built a nice little stand here using like foam board. So again, you could laser cut that in school. You could cut it nice and neatly with a craft knife and a safety ruler, and they've then printed graphics to put on the top of it. So you can see they've got their car over here, and then on the side they've got some CFD, and I can't see behind the gents here, but they've also got some more information. But you can see they've got their portfolios out, and they've also got each generation of their car on the front here when they're talking to the judges. But you can see how the interview works. The judges come to your pit display So that's just giving you an opportunity there to showcase what's going on. If you're thinking about the brand, what's quite nice about this here is you can see the students, they've got their Flow logo on their plain t-shirts, which is really nice. So it's linking the team to the pit display, and you can also see from the car they've got a white and blue kind of theme, and that's flowing through nicely across all of their sort of project elements. And even if you look closely enough at that portfolio in the background, you can see that blue line across it with the white thing. So they've really taken the graphic content and have utilized it in all of their areas. So just two examples from a London event. It's nice to see two different approaches, and you can see in the background that everyone's kind of done different things with their kind of pit displays. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what you need to do here just from that point of view before I kind of move on to have a look at what Team Tanwan had done with their pit display. So just as I mentioned, we had Bella here. That's Bella. She came and did some work experience. I mean, that's just an offshoot of what we do here at F1 Schools, that, you know, if you are an ex-competitor and you want to come and try and get some work experience, then we're always looking for people to come and help and support us. So just bear that in mind for the future. They're from Wales, and if you want to check them out, you can go and check out their Instagram, or you can check out their Twitter. I would recommend doing that for any team you can find on social media, because you'll find loads of posts, loads of information, and posts are always in front of different pit displays and stuff like that. So it's a great opportunity for you to see, steal ideas, and look at what everybody else is doing, and take that into your F1 in Schools journey. So what did Team Tanwan do? So from a sustainability point of view, you can see that they, sorry, we've got some, I didn't realise we had some animations on this one. She's obviously done a miles better job than me. I just went onto each page. Yeah, you can see here they had a sustainability section, and that is part of the scorecard. So they've given information about how they've been working sustainably on their project. So questions that she's asking, you know, what could you do to make your F1 Schools team more sustainable? Now, that doesn't always have to mean what is the carbon footprint of your team? That's really key. So how are you innovatively thinking of different solutions to maybe reduce that carbon footprint? Or is it just simply that you're recyclable, or the next team down could reuse it? Maybe there's Velcro elements that you could peel on and off so that somebody else could use your exact one. There's an idea there. What community work have you done in terms of making sure that F1 in Schools is a sustainable project in your local community, other people to get involved through the work that you've done? And then also including some samples of what you've been developing or what you've been doing is really key. And I've got to be honest, Team Tanwan did one of the best pieces of sustainability work that we saw at the UK Nationals in January. So I did ask Bella to put that together for us. So you can see here some PLA, and this is a bamboo plant. So some of the research that Team Tanwan did around bamboo was that it's stronger than steel and carbon fiber if you talk about its tensile strength, which is when you pull something along its length. So how strong is it along its length? So perfect for axles, and that's due to its molecular structure that's a bit more tightly packed than steel and carbon fiber. So it could potentially perform better than steel. Carbon fiber is that kind of axle. So what they try to do is grow their own axles, which is pretty cool. So they 3D printed the size of the axle they wanted. They put it around the bamboo plant and shoots, and then they grew or began to grow their axles. Now, unfortunately for them and for us as competition, by the time the next set of regionals came along that they were competing in, they hadn't grown yet. They hadn't got to the size that they needed them. Now, that doesn't matter. What's important in this is how are you showing how sustainable you're being from that point of view. So you don't have to have necessarily done something and used it in your project, but the intent that Team Tanwan have gone in terms of trying to grow their own axles from an innovative point of view is amazing. A sustainability point of view is amazing. From a research and development point of view, it's amazing. It might not have worked, but they're giving it a go. So they can get loads of recognition and loads of points in their portfolio or in their section here, sustainability, by doing that in there. So that's just an example of what you could do. So in terms of visual on your pit displays. You're trying to be as impressive as possible, and it's all about showcasing how professional you can be, but how creative you are. And remember, Bella makes a great point. This is the first impression that anybody gets. So whether it's the judges coming up to judge you on brand identity, or the enterprise judges that are coming up, when judges arrive, they'll always go for a look around the venue. So everybody's going to see your pit display, and that's going to be the first thing that they see to think, oh, what's this team all about? Or how professional is this team? How creative? How well are they going to perform in this competition? So it's your point of contact for absolutely everybody at the event, including potential employers or potential sponsors and fundraising opportunities. So just bear that in mind. So Bella's tips are clever use of your logo. You could potentially use some lighting to amplify your display. Designs can be aesthetically pleasing, so making things try to look as good as possible. You can advertise your sponsorship and display your car or your car development in the different stages that you've got. And you could also think about trying to make it interactive. So if we just look here at Vega Racing from Scotland, they've put a scale track, and they 3D printed some cars so that when people came up, they were hooked into looking at their pit display, and it gave them an opportunity to then engage in conversation with judges or students or sponsors, because that kind of had that interactive fun element. Now, I hope we don't see hundreds of Scalextric tricks now, tracks at all of our regionals, but it's just an example of what you can do. And we really like Max from Ron Deering's showcase of all of the sort of journey of their car. So it's a really nice development journey for what they did with the final kind of cars on the top here, and loads of information about the events that they had done. So you can see here from your pit display content, what things do you want to include? What's quite nice about this is you can see its flow look from the previous picture at London West. So you can see they've still got the same logo flowing through. The car design is still very similar that's on here, and the graphics are all flowing through in the same kind of point. That's really key for them and their brand. They've just consistently kept it throughout regional and now here national level. So when you think about your regional level, think of that concept. What is it that you're going to try and achieve, and then try and stick with that without trying to rebrand. And you can see nicely here the final car. And actually, from a sustainable point of view, they've got QR codes to scan to get some documents to find out more information. But you can see the sponsors, who are they? Project management, sustainability is behind there, so maybe it's a little bit hidden. Design journey and the car. So it's quite organized in terms of what you can see. They've got technology and lighting built into what they've done. And they've also got that kind of display item area to display the car and some of the trophies that you can see they must have won at their regional final. Okay, this is what I was talking about, that fun element from the graphic identity or including stuff. Here's Team Vortex, and they brought themselves a little Instagram kind of card and some fun kind of like props to go with it, and that got people in the car taking pictures. It was a way to say, have you seen Vortex and their pit display? They've got this little thing, go and take a picture. But of course, they've branded it as well. So any person who took a picture of themselves in their little card also had Vortex's Instagram, their TikTok, and their Twitter. Great opportunity for them to get their brand out there. When you're thinking about graphic identity, you can see they've got their purple pit display, purple uniforms, purple brand around here, purple on their logo, purple around their props. Everything has been really considered in terms of their sort of identity. And it's, as Bella says, it's trying to help you establish your brand and have that really visual sort of identity to try and stand out from everybody. Remember, everyone's trying to stand out as well. So how are you going to make sure that you stand out? What color scheme are you going to use, and how are you going to use it? What logo have you got, and how are you going to use that? And what fonts? There's plenty of research in terms of fonts, which ones are easy to read, which ones aren't easy to read. Is your logo easy to digest for somebody who's looking and walking past? Finally, your team identity. So again, lovely picture of Tanwen in their white shirts and red tops. They've gone with a kind of theme of Wales because that's where they're from, and you can see that flowing through everything. Though they've got a white and red car. It's really bold in the middle. Look at the logo up there. They've got some lovely bunting, Welsh flags all over the place, glasses. They've even went for the face paints in theirs from that point of view. So you're trying to have that really strong impression on the judges, but also anyone else who's coming there. And you can see their organised content again that's around, and it's not had tons of money spent on this. They're utilising some technology, some lighting, really clear sort of stand for what they're going. You can't see it, but in the background is their bamboo plant with the shoots on it, showing and explaining how they're growing their axles. So they're really just getting involved in what it is that they can do from that point of view. But just remember, those examples we've just shown you, they are from national finals. We're not expecting to see that level at regionals. However, we do sometimes see that. So it's up to you in terms of how you're trying to grasp those points from there. So massive thanks to Bella for providing that information for us. So please do digest that, and remember, you're going to get these resources afterwards. So again, hints and tips for everybody. Use the scorecard. I've already said that hundreds of times. Try and be as different as you can. Try and think of something completely different. Because it's been everything. If you think you're doing something, most things have been done hundreds of times. So we're trying to really think of just one little thing that's going to make the judges remember you. Showcase everything in that inviting way. You're trying to get people to your actual pit display. That's what you want to do. Make it inviting, make it memorable. Try and showcase that journey if you can in a clear way. Showcase all of your information and the hard work that you've done. Have a go at building your pit display before you attend your regional or national final. Check, double check, and triple check absolutely everything. And remember to bring everything. However you're carrying it in your car, your minibus, whatever, make sure you remember everything. Don't include anything that's not going to score you points. This is a bit, that one's, on this one, there's so many different elements to it that technically are not on the scorecard from a graphic identity point of view. There's not a definitive list of what you can brand up. So you can really go to town on what it is that you want to do. One example from the World Finals, I'll just use it because it was quite a cool one, was Nightingale. They had Crocs on, but they also made little Nightingale giblets or whatever they're called that go into the little holes on the Crocs. Now, I don't wear Crocs, but I thought it was a really cool idea. And anyone else who was wearing Crocs at the World Finals had those in. And from a health and safety point of view, if you do wear Crocs to one of our regional finals, make sure you wear it in sports mode, please. Be open to sharing your work with others. That's really key. If you're willing to share what you've done in your journey, show your portfolio, show your work in your pit display, other people are also going to be wanting to share their work with you. It works both ways. So please make sure you do that. Take pictures of stuff and post it on social so that when I do this next year and some other students are looking out there and they find your account on social media, they can see your pit display. Network with everybody. That's the most key thing. Even though you're competing against these people, you never know how you might want to work together. You never know if they're going to be at the nationals with you, and you might see them around. So please do bear that in mind. Network and really support each other. And finally, support the entry class teams on their research mission. They've got to go out and ask tons of questions to all the development and professional class teams. Be open to chatting to them, help them and support them, mentor them if they need it, whatever it is that they need. Please make sure that you do that. Look at that, 1/2 past. It's only a few more slides of information, but it's the first time I've actually finished on time, so I'll give myself credit for that one. So I don't think I saw any questions come in, so I'll take any more questions right at the end. I'll just give you a couple more pieces of information, but if you've got any questions about what I've just chatted through, please stick them in the chat now. But as I said, the next up for us is our Scottish regionals next week. So there's no twilight this week. So there's no twilight on Monday, so not got time to organise that. It's on the 9th this Thursday and the 10th this Friday. So make sure you follow at F1 in Schools UK and share that with everybody, because we're going to be posting loads of content and we'll be posting different pit displays. So again, it's another opportunity for you to see other pit displays and other people's work and how it kind of works if you don't already know that. But also you get to see which teams are going to go to national. So what is the standard that you think you need to achieve? And then the following Monday, on the 20th of November, is our last session, and that is going to be on scrutineering. So it's just going to be around on the cars, some of the nuances, what it is that you should be looking for. There's not tons of information to put into this. It's just more of a case of, right, this is how it works. This is what we do. This is how we do it. So you've got a good idea so that you can try and replicate that scrutineering process before you attend one of our finals. And once you have... Once I've done the last session next week, all of the recordings are going to be available on an email to you and also on our website. So just look out for those. If you miss anything, you'll get them all at some point before the end of November. And finally, if you want more. So if you want to know about any other events we've got, testing days, race days, regional finals, national finals, world finals, judging, absolutely anything we've got, then sign up to the F1 in Schools newsletter. So you can do that by going to the link below, or just go to the f1inschools.co.uk website, and there's a newsletter tab at the top on the browser. So go ahead and sign up to that if you're not already, because signing up to the Twilight doesn't automatically put you into the newsletter database. This database is purely just for you and your Twilight. So go and sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. Okay, so I'll just go back to the questions slide. I can see Richard, will the table and stand? Yes. So you get a table. Every team gets a table, but that's it. You don't get the display boards in the background. Any of the display boards that you saw. So if I just go back, I'll just quickly go back to. Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to get to here. So everybody's got a table. This has been brought in by the team. They're set up at the back here. And here, these display boards, they've been brought by the team. This tablecloth has been bought by the team. So you just get the table that you can see there in your space to build upon. You can see there, look, there's just a table and just a table that some people have got there. Two questions from Finn. Do entry teams have a pit display judging session? No, entry teams do not have a display session, but the judges will go around and they will judge all of the entry class pit displays to decide which ones are going to go into the nominations and the pit display award. Can we give a rough idea of the table size for West Midlands? I believe in the West Midlands it was like a standard table that you'd set in maths, like a two-person table. So in a maths lesson or a geography lesson or a history lesson, that kind of size table is what you get for West Midlands. Finn, I hope that answers your question. Mentions for what, Joshua? The national do. Oh, sorry. If you go to the nationals, when you get an invite to the nationals, you get sent the dimensions for the booth, but they're about 2 meters by 1 meter. So those booths are purpose built. Everybody's got a completely blank one, and they're all 2 meters by 1 meter. No problem. So massive thank you to everybody for jumping on. Look out for the recording. We'll send that out tomorrow with the resources. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the scrutineering session. Other than that, good luck with everything that you're doing for your regionals. And if you've got any questions, please just email in to myself or Amy and we'll be able to answer that for you. I'm going to hang around for the next 5 or 10 minutes or until everybody's left the room, just in case anyone else has got any more questions. But if you haven't, I hope you have a great evening and we'll see you soon. See you later, guys. Thank you. Thank you.